Good afternoon, everybody. Bo Swafford, just kind of giving my mental response for this week. Again, my mentor is actually my senior pastor here at the church, Reverend Dr. Alan Stewart. And he and I got to sit down just like we normally do every week and talk through life, ministry, our church. But this time we actually focused in on the Foster's book, which is, side note, is one of his favorite books. He told me when I started this course and was talking through like the books that we were going to be reading and stuff, that this book by Foster, Celebration of Discipline, is one of the things that he has continued to go back to many times. He said in his life and in his ministry career, which he's been in ministry 30 years. Maybe 35 years. He's young. He's 54, 55. He got started in college. And, when he got into seminary, he was going 100 miles an hour. So he's been in ministry for a while. But this book's been something that he's always gone back to. So as I stated in my 4.1 discussion this week, he and I really looked into corporate guidance. Just because it was kind of a newer concept for me, and just looking through like what that means and what that looks like in the life of me personally, but in the life of like a church and that kind of stuff. And so it was kind of cool just because I work in a United Methodist Church, which don't know how familiar you guys are like with that system and how it functions. But Alan is appointed. I am not. I am hired by our church. I am not ordained in the United Methodist Church, but Alan is, and he's appointed to our church by our bishop, and he answers to what's called our administrative council directly on our church level. And he and I had the opportunity to just kind of talk through, like, that is a great example of corporate guidance in our church. We meet with them, and I get a chance to sit in those meetings, but we meet with them and we discuss everything. Honestly, I mean, we discuss the individual ministries within our church. We discuss vision. We discuss what we feel like the Lord maybe is calling us to do, and that kind of stuff. The big thing for us is that administrative council is completely lay led. Alan and I are both adjunct members of the administrative council as the ministers of this church, but like, I don't have a vote. He doesn't have a vote in things, and they're the place that leads everything. I mean, I talked a little bit about this last week, but like, we just had to okay the purchase of 2 new buses, and that went through them. And so, the big thing like that he and I talked about, and that I think I probably struggle the most with when looking at that corporate guidance, is just a lot of opinions in there. Because for us, it's 10 to 12 people that are corporately guiding this church. And so it's a lot of opinions. And as much as like I would love to sit here and say, we see it being led like by the Holy Spirit, and we trust that, like, I think that is the case, but I think that also there's some, not a lot, but there is some agendas that come to the table. And I think that would probably be like the biggest hesitation, like for me, as far as like corporate guidance goes, is like when you get to a larger size of corporate guidance, where you're talking 10 and 12 and 15 people, I think it brings in a lot of opinions, brings in a lot of people that may not be allowing the Holy Spirit, or may not even be asking the Holy Spirit to lead them in that process. I think a system that I am more comfortable with, but is again corporate guidance, would be an elder system. The church that I worked at before this was a non-denominational church, and it was staff led. I guess it was elder led, staff implemented is the way we worded that. And so our elders were the ones that led us, and there was 5 to 7 of those guys, and it just made it, I feel like, a little bit easier to to not have as many opinions and to potentially have a more spirit-led guidance, I guess is the best way to put it. So, but the other side of that is, and what I love about the corporate guidance is that, you know, so many times you see in a church where a pastor becomes the head of everything and leads everything, and there's not enough accountability for that person. There's not enough leadership over him to where he feels like, or she feels like they own the church and run the church completely. And so the beauty of corporate guidance is that, like, that doesn't happen. So at the end of the day, and I think that's the thing that, like, I really picked up on the most is, like, you want people that are spirit-led in these positions of guidance. You want people that you trust. You want people that are willing to make tough decisions when they feel like the Lord is calling them to do that. And so that was the biggest thing that, like, we talked about through this process and through this section of the book. So appreciate it. You guys have a great week, and talk to you soon.